Hey, it's Shane. Have you ever dreamed of flying first class without paying the insane ticket price? Imagine sipping champagne at 30,000 feet, lounging in a spacious seat that feels more like a mini apartment than an airplane cabin. Sounds pretty incredible, right? Well, today I'm going to reveal 5 hidden airline hacks that can get you upgraded to first class without spending a fortune. You'd be surprised how many people are doing this while others are still stuck in economy. But here's the thing. One of these hacks is so unexpected, you'll wonder why no one's talking about it. I'll save that one for later, so stick around. Let's dive in with hack number 1. Timing is everything. Most travelers have no idea that the day and time they book their flight can significantly impact their chances of getting an upgrade. You see, airlines typically release unsold first-class seats to frequent flyers or those with status perks a few days before departure. But here's where it gets interesting. If you book your flight during the midweek slump, think Tuesday or Wednesday, and choose flights that depart mid-morning or late at night, you'll often find that first-class seats are less likely to be fully booked. That means a much higher chance of scoring a last-minute upgrade for free or a nominal fee. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what if I can't travel on those days? Here's another trick. Always check the flight's capacity a few days before departure. If you notice that there are still empty first-class seats, call the airline and politely ask about any last-minute upgrade deals. Sometimes just expressing interest can lead to significant discounts or even complimentary upgrades if they're trying to fill the cabin. But hold on, we're just getting started. The second hack might sound old school, but it still works like magic. Dress the part. Yup, I know, it sounds cliche, but looking polished and professional can make a difference. Airlines prefer to have their first-class cabins reflect a certain image, and if you show up looking sharp, think business attire rather than casual, you increase your odds of being chosen if there's an upgrade available. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean you have to wear a full suit and tie. Just aim for clean, stylish, and put together. Think of it as showing the airline that you belong in first class. And while appearance alone won't guarantee you an upgrade, it certainly doesn't hurt to stack the odds in your favor. Alright, let's move on to hack number 3. And this one is all about loyalty. If you're not already part of an airline's frequent flyer program, you're missing out. Even if you only fly occasionally, signing up is completely free and can open doors you wouldn't expect. Here's the kicker. Airlines often prioritize upgrades for members of their loyalty programs, even if they're not high-tier members. The trick is to accumulate points by linking your frequent flyer number to all your bookings and even using affiliated services like rental cars or hotel stays. And here's a bonus tip within this hack. Always check for partner airlines within the same alliance. If you've racked up points with one airline, you might be able to use them to score an upgrade with a partner carrier. It's one of those under-the-radar perks that frequent travelers swear by. But wait, what if you're not a loyalty member or don't fly often enough to collect points? I've got another hack for you, and this one is a game changer. Become a volunteer. Airlines frequently overbook economy class to maximize profits, and when that happens, they start looking for volunteers willing to take a later flight. If you offer to be bumped, always ask about an upgrade on the next available flight. You'd be surprised how often they'll accommodate you in first class just to keep you happy. Here's the best part. You don't even have to be at the airport to make this happen. Call the airline ahead of time and let them know you're willing to volunteer if the flight ends up overbooked. They'll often note it on your reservation, giving you a better chance of snagging that upgrade before anyone else. And now, for the most unexpected hack of them all. This one is not widely known but can be an absolute game changer, especially if you're traveling as a couple. It involves strategically booking your seats in a specific way to increase your chances of being bumped to first class. Sounds intriguing, right? I'll break it down in just a moment. But before we get to that, I want you to think about this. Have you ever noticed how some passengers get called up to the gate right before boarding and suddenly end up in first class? It's not just luck, it's strategy. Alright, get ready, because this next tip will completely change the way you book your flights. Stay tuned. Alright, here's where it gets really clever. Hack number 5 is all about strategic seat selection, and it works especially well when you're traveling with a companion. The idea is to book 2 aisle seats across from each other in the same row. Why? Because if the flight isn't fully booked and the airline needs to move people around, they're more likely to upgrade a pair sitting separately rather than break up a couple sitting together. Here's the logic. Airlines prefer to accommodate passengers as efficiently as possible, and when 2 people are in separate seats, it creates a minor inconvenience for both the passengers and the crew. To resolve this, they may choose to upgrade both of you to first class if adjacent economy seats open up, or if there are open seats in first class to keep you together. It sounds crazy, but it's a psychological trick that plays on the airline's desire to minimize discomfort and complaints. And here's the best part. Even if the upgrade doesn't happen, you still get the comfort of an aisle seat, which is a win in itself. This hack works best when flying on less busy routes or during non-peak travel times when the flight is less likely to be fully booked. Now let's loop back for a second. Remember when I mentioned earlier how some passengers seem to magically get upgraded at the gate? This is often due to another sneaky trick, being on the airline's radar as a polite and patient traveler. It may sound simple, but being kind to gate agents and check-in staff can make a difference. Think about it. They deal with stressed, frustrated travelers all day. When you show up calm, courteous, and genuinely respectful, you stand out. But here's where it gets really interesting. You can actually use this to your advantage by politely inquiring about potential upgrades at the gate. Just be honest and straightforward. Mention that you'd love to experience first class if any last-minute upgrades become available. Sometimes just showing that interest can work in your favor, especially if you're dressed well and traveling solo. Now let's talk about timing your approach. You don't want to ask right away when the gate is packed with people. Instead, wait for a quieter moment when the gate agent isn't swamped. Approach with a smile and a casual, friendly attitude. Even if they can't offer you an upgrade right away, they might just put a note on your ticket as a potential candidate if the opportunity arises. Alright, so let's recap the 5 powerful hacks we just covered. First, choose the right timing when booking your flight. Midweek and off-peak hours give you the best chances of an upgrade. Second, dress the part. Looking professional might just get you noticed. Third, leverage airline loyalty programs and use your points creatively. Fourth, volunteer to be bumped when flights are overbooked and negotiate for an upgrade on the next flight. And finally, book aisle seats across from each other to increase your odds of being moved to first class when traveling as a pair. But hold on, because I promised you one more bonus tip, and it's one that most people never think about. This one can actually increase your chances of getting a first-class seat without even asking for it. Curious? It's called the strategic check-in delay. Here's how it works. Instead of checking in online right at the 24-hour mark, wait until about 6 to 8 hours before your flight. Why? Because during that window, airlines have a clearer picture of seat availability, and they start reallocating seats based on factors like frequent flyer status, upgrades, and empty spots in first class. By waiting to check in, you're giving the system time to possibly bump you up if they need to make room in economy. But here's the kicker. This doesn't always work, especially if the flight is already overbooked, so use it strategically when the flight status seems more flexible. And of course, be prepared to check in right away if you notice the flight filling up fast. So, there you have it. 5 brilliant hacks plus a bonus tip to help you experience first class without paying extra. Try these on your next trip and see how they work. And remember, the key is to be strategic, polite, and just a bit adventurous. You never know, you might just find yourself sipping champagne in a plush first-class seat while everyone else is stuck in economy. If you found these tips useful, let me know which one you're most excited to try in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more travel secrets and luxury hacks. See you in the next video.